Hello, my name is Nicholas Owen. Welcome to Director TV. The purpose of this program is to try to narrow down what professionals from different sectors and with different areas of expertise consider to be the building blocks of successful business. As every company is as unique as the individuals that run it, and every industry replete with the particular niches and specializations that form its makeup, there can never be a single agreed-upon formula for the ideal structure and ethos of a company. What we have discovered, though, is a wealth of views and strategies espoused by top business leaders, from which the able executive can extract and piece together a plan of action to suit his concerns and needs. So, how have our executives defined business excellence, and how do they think company directors could go about achieving it?
Imagine a triangle, and at the apex of the triangle, we have a P. P stands for purpose. Purpose is around strategic objectives, it's around philosophy, it's about aims, it's all those things that people get out of bed for. When they understand that, there's a good reason to get out of bed. At the bottom end of the triangle on the left-hand side, we have a T. The T stands for talent. This is the talent available to you in pursuit of your objectives and your aims. And on the right-hand side, you have another point on the triangle, which is O. And the O stands for organization. An organization is the glue that holds the triangle together. And to be a successful director, or a group of successful directors, you have to give equal attention to the 3 points of the triangle. And if you don't, the triangle is likely to collapse. And what we've noticed when we work with boards of directors is they're frequently focused too exclusively on one point of the triangle.
Companies can achieve business excellence, I think, through actually doing business in something which they understand very well. If they don't understand what they're trying to do, it soon becomes apparent to all their potential customers. And if they do understand it and have a passion for it as well, then people will come to them sometimes just to sort of feel the passion they have for their business, and it works a lot better that way.
Every business is only as good as the constituent parts. It's important for everybody in the company, it doesn't matter what job they're in, to recognise that they are basically on sales. They should bear in mind that they should have the customer in mind all the time.
Business excellence for us would be for those businesses that really incorporate intellectual property as part of their management process. All businesses use or create intellectual property. It could be the product they produce, it could be the process they use, it could be their brand, it could be the unique appearance of their product that makes them stand out in the marketplace, or it could be in terms of creativity, their film, their written work, their publications. But all businesses create or use it, and we would really want businesses to take proper account of that in their management processes, because unless they do, they will not maximise the value they have.
As we've already touched upon, the world of business is an amalgam of different sectors and subsectors, each with its own rules, conventions, and modes of best practice. In order for business to grow and to thrive, directors need to ensure that they have the requisite knowledge and personal acumen to succeed in their field. But what kinds of qualities make up the right mix? Business is almost always hierarchical, and as such, the director of an organization is usually going to be the focal point of attention, both internally and externally, as well as a top strategizer and chief delegator of responsibility. In short, he or she must be a leader. But how do you go about defining leadership and the qualities of a good leader in business terms?
In the good times, leadership is needed. In the difficult times, it's even more needed. And I think what we're seeing now at this time, because we are in a period of, quotes, difficult times, is leaders sometimes struggling to adapt. What do I mean by that? They were appointed, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, into a role. Times were very good. They could apply a slightly different type of leadership. As opposed to now, times are difficult. There is a need for leaders to think about creating followership, even more so than in the good times. This is a period when people are struggling very badly, and leaders have to think now about not just advocating all the time, but listening carefully to what people in the organisation are saying. Even more important now than it was before the bad times arrived. If you think about what the conductor of an orchestra has to do, be it a he or a she, they have to harness the collective talents of all the musical instruments they have available. And that's very similar to being a leader of a major slug of the business, or indeed a chief executive. But if you think about it, the preparation you had was probably learning to play the violin rather well. So being a lead violinist was second nature to you. And then suddenly one day you're appointed to a much more senior position. And for the first time perhaps you have to think in a rather creative way about harnessing all the talents. So you've got the trombones, you've got the violins, you've got the triangles, you've got the double bass. You have to use all that talent to make the music. And that's why I refer to a leader being the conductor of an orchestra. The temptation, of course, is, there's no question, we see this frequently in our work, that you get fed up of being a conductor of the orchestra, so you periodically jump back down into the orchestra pit and grab the nearest violin and say, look, this is how you play it. But of course that isn't what you're supposed to be doing. As a leader, your task is to help others undertake the performance. So your role is to create the space and place in which other people can perform. I think there are three key things around leadership that we need to think about. One is the ability to generate followership. Much too much emphasis is placed on developing the leader, but not really thinking about the leader helping to create followership. Don't forget that followers are as compelled to follow as leaders are to lead. They need to be given attention. So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is the ability to let go, allow other people to do the performing. Quite difficult for people who've built a very successful career on doing anything but letting go. And I think the third issue is the ability to abandon your ego. Now, what do I mean by that? Ego is hugely important, but if you become the sage on the stage rather than the guide on the side, then you're probably going to fail in your leadership role. You need to abandon that side of yourself, otherwise the bit that has driven you to success, allow other people to do the performing, and in that way you'll become a much more successful leader.